Why do the people who love themselves the least always end up with those who hurt them the most? It's not coincidence. It's not bad luck. It's the mirror. Carl Jung once said that what you do not bring to consciousness appears in your life as fate. And perhaps the cruelest fate of all is this: when you don't believe you deserve love, peace, or respect, you become a magnet for everyone and everything that confirms it. But why? Jung understood something most of us spend our entire lives running from: that the relationship you have with yourself is the blueprint for every relationship you'll ever have with another person. If you see yourself as unworthy, incomplete, or broken, then the world will reflect that back to you in the cruelest ways. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because you are unconsciously choosing it. And today, we're going to uncover why. Jung believed that every person, every situation, every relationship that enters your life is a mirror, not of who they are, but of who you believe you are. When you carry a deep, unconscious belief that you are not enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not lovable enough, you begin to radiate that belief outward like a silent signal. And the people who answer that signal? They are the ones who treat you exactly how you treat yourself. The friend who never respects your boundaries? You don't respect them either. The partner who takes you for granted? You've been taking yourself for granted for years. The job that drains your soul? You allowed it, because somewhere inside you believed you didn't deserve better. Jung called this projection. But it's more than that. It's the universe holding up a mirror and asking, "Do you see it now?" There was a woman who spent 10 years with a man who barely saw her. He didn't cheat, he didn't yell, he was just absent. Present in body, gone in spirit. And every time she thought about leaving, a voice inside her whispered, "Maybe this is all you deserve." So she stayed. Until one day, after years of silence, she looked at herself in the mirror and said something she hadn't said in a decade. "I matter." 3 months later, he was gone. Not because she kicked him out, but because the moment she started valuing herself, he could no longer exist in her reality. He wasn't matching her frequency anymore. Jung spoke often about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we hide, deny, and reject. And one of the darkest parts of the shadow is this: self-betrayal. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable, every time you ignore your needs, silence your truth, or apologize for taking up space, you are betraying yourself. And the shadow remembers. It stores every moment you chose them over you, every time you swallowed your pain to keep the peace, every boundary you didn't set because you were afraid of being abandoned. And over time, those betrayals pile up, until you look in the mirror and realize you don't even recognize yourself anymore. Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Because to accept yourself means to stop abandoning yourself. It means to stop giving your energy to people who wouldn't cross the street for you. It means to finally say, "I am worth more than this." And that, for many, feels like death. Because when you stop betraying yourself, you have to let go of everyone who benefited from your silence. There was a man who worked 60 hours a week at a job he hated. He told himself it was for his family, for security, for responsibility. But deep down, he knew the truth. He stayed because leaving would mean confronting the question he'd been avoiding his entire life. Who am I without this? One night after another 14-hour shift, he sat in his car and wept. Not because he was tired, but because he realized he had spent 20 years building a life he didn't even want. And the saddest part? No one forced him. He chose it. Because somewhere along the way, he stopped believing he deserved to be happy. Jung had a term for what happens when you abandon yourself for too long. He called it soul loss. It's that feeling of emptiness, of going through the motions, of waking up every day and wondering, is this it? You're not depressed. You're not broken. you're just gone. Because when you spend years ignoring your inner voice, the one that whispers your truth, your desires, your boundaries, it eventually stops speaking. And what's left is a hollow shell, a body that moves, a mind that functions, but a spirit that has long since checked out. Jung believed that this emptiness wasn't a punishment. It was a call from the deepest part of yourself, begging you to come home, to stop performing, to stop pretending, to stop living for the approval of people who will never truly see you. And the moment you answer that call, everything changes. Not because the world suddenly becomes kinder, but because you become unavailable to anything that doesn't honor the person you're becoming. When you value yourself, you don't attract better people by accident. You attract them because you finally become the kind of person who refuses to settle for less. Jung understood that the psyche operates on resonance. Like attracts like. If you walk through life carrying shame, guilt, and unworthiness, you will magnetize people and situations that confirm those beliefs. Not because the universe is cruel, but because your subconscious is trying to heal. And it does that by recreating the wound over and over again until you finally stop and say, enough. The partner who abandons you? That's your fear of abandonment made flesh. The friend who uses you? That's your lack of boundaries reflected back. The job that drains you? That's your belief that suffering equals worth. And the only way to break the cycle is to change the signal, to stop radiating lack and start radiating sufficiency, to stop seeking validation and start validating yourself, to stop waiting for someone to save you and become the person you've been waiting for. Here's the twist that changes everything. You don't attract what you want. You attract who you are. And if you don't like what's showing up in your life, it's not because you're unlucky. It's because somewhere deep inside, you still believe you don't deserve better. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So stop calling it fate. Stop calling it bad luck. Stop blaming the world for reflecting back the relationship you have with yourself. Because the moment you start valuing yourself truly, deeply, unapologetically, the people who don't match that energy will fade away like shadows at dawn. And in their place, you'll find the people, the opportunities, the life you were always meant to have. Not because you chased it, but because you finally became it. If you're someone who's tired of settling, tired of betraying yourself, tired of living a life that doesn't feel like yours, then you're already on the path. The truth doesn't need to be sold. It just needs to be seen. And you're seeing it now.